Okay, hello everyone and good morning. This is Rob with Campus Contact, and we are about to start our training. This morning's training is a high-level overview of the new Campus Contact website management system, where we're going to cover just the basics about where everything is and how to access everything and just the basics of the website and how to manage content. This afternoon's training at 4 p.m. will be a bit more involved. We're going to really dive into managing content and building pages and adding different widgets and things to the website. So it's going to be a bit more of an advanced course. So this morning is just the high-level overview of the entire system and just the basics of it. So let's talk about the new system real quick. First off, the support for the new system. In the old system, you used to have a link that would take you to support directly from inside the system. That's no longer available from inside. However, if you go to campuscontact.com, you can see a little floating chat bubble over here on the bottom side, and you can click on that to immediately reach any of our support folks with any questions that you might have. You can also click the support page, and on the support page, you'll be able to search our extensive knowledge base, which is going to cover a lot more information about how to use the system than we'll have time for today. But there's a tremendous amount of information, documentation, pictures, all kinds of stuff to guide you and help you along the way within the help link. Now, this can also be accessed from within the website or at the campuscontact.com/support page. You can also ask us any kind of questions, just submit it directly to us. Or if we need to access your computer to see what might be going on differently on your end than what we're seeing, we even have the ability to use our remote support to see your screen. Or last is you can submit a trouble ticket for any issues that you might be having that we could respond to. So there's your ways of contacting us. Again, live chat, the knowledge base, ask us any questions or any trouble tickets that you want to submit to us. So lots of ways to get a hold of us, lots of documentation available for you to cover everything that I'm going to be kind of high level covering today. So let's talk about logging into the website. The old sites, you used to have a login link at the bottom of your site that you could click and it would take you right to the login page. Well, that is gone now. So there is no more login link on your website. We removed that because the kids were beating it up too much, and there were thousands failed attempts to log in, most of them by kids or illegitimate attempts. So now the login link is completely gone and removed from the website. So if you're going to log in and manage your website, you have to remember that you're going to admin your website. So you need to go to admin.campuscontact.com. Once you go to admin.campuscontact.com, you'll have this login prompt where you can put in your login information, your username, which is always going to be your email address, and your password that you created when you were first added to the website. If you didn't get the email, but you know you've been added to the website and you just don't know what that link is, use the forgot password link and simply enter your email address. The system will send you a link where you can reset your password, and then you can get back into the system. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just click the forgot password and you can get back in. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and log in as my demo account. Remember, this is where you're going to log in always. If you're going to make any changes on your website, you have to log in at admin.campuscontact.com. There's no link, again, from your website to this. You just have to remember it or write it down or something that you're going to manage your website from inside, admin.campuscontact.com. Once I do that, I'm going to click Login. And now I'm taken to my dashboard. And this dashboard could be different for all of you depending on how many sites you manage. If you manage multiple sites, you'll see them all listed right here, and you can quickly access any of them from this dashboard. You can see a little thumbnail of what the site's looking like right now, as well as the URL and when it was created and last published. So I can see that this one was published last on August 28th. So just a little detail about it. And over to the right, I can click the edit link to go in and edit the website. But I can also click on a preview link to preview the website so that I can see how it's going to look on desktop, tablet, as well as mobile devices. So, and I apologize for my speed here, but this is not the website system. This is my local internet access, going extremely slow today. So anyhow, so clicking the preview link again, I get to see the website in different devices, so I can see how it's going to look and function on the various devices. Back at the dashboard, I also have stats, because now there's an equivalent of Google Analytics added to your website now. So you don't really need Google Analytics anymore. If you really, really love Google Analytics, or you used it in the past and that's really what you want to stay with, certainly there's an area where you can embed that Google Analytics code so that you can continue to use that. But you don't really need to anymore, because now stats are built right into your website. And this being a training site, there are no real stats. But if there were, we'd see lots of detail. We can see it yesterday, weekly, monthly, or any particular date range that we want to do. We can also see lots of information about the content, what type of device was used to access the site, whether it was desktop, mobile, tablets. What's going on there? All right. So we could even see additional information about types of engagement and traffic sources, where they're coming from, the browsers being used, the operating systems, and even the locations as to where people are hitting your website. And of course, if there's any in-site personalization engagement things, which we'll cover shortly, you would also see that sort of information in here as well. So there's a lot of information available for you now within your dashboard. And last to the right is a little set of lines. They call it the hamburger menu, and you'll of course see that on any mobile website these days, many or most tablet websites as well. When you click on that, or actually just hover over it, you'll see the access to manage your posts for your blog, also to access your school store, which we'll cover shortly as well, and any form responses. So in the past, if you wanted to manage your forms, they were all over your website. You had to go from one page to another and jump all around to find your forms. Now all of your forms are aggregated into one location. So if you want to click on form responses, you'll see all of your forms that are in one location. Again, this is just a demo site. There are no forms on it or responses. But if there were, you'd see all of your forms listed out here, and you can access all of them in one simple location. So it's really nice to have everything aggregated. You could also, like I said, manage your store or your blog directly from your dashboard. Just jump right out to it. In my case, I want to jump over to edit the website. Oh, wait, before I do, I need to also show you that at the top right is where you will access your account information, first name, last name, email address, and manage your password. Also, you can change the language of the system from, this is from you logging in as administrator, what the language is that you'll see, not the actual website language that the public will see. But you can change the language to whatever you'd like it to be that you're most comfortable with. And last is at the top right, your sign out. So you do need to sign out of the website when you're finished. The old system did have an automatic timeout that people absolutely hated, because it would kick them off after a while of, I think, 30 minutes to an hour. That is gone. And so now it's your responsibility to make sure that you sign out of the website on your own. You'll go back to your dashboard, mouse over your name, and click the sign out link. And of course, you'll be signed out immediately. So you need to make sure that you do that. Otherwise, other people can get in and manage your website for you, and that could be a horrible thing. So make sure that you remember to do that on your own by clicking back on the dashboard, going back to here, and mouse over your name and click sign out. That is absolutely critical. It's as critical as you leaving your keys in your car with the car running, or in your front door at your house. This is your responsibility. Of course, it has your name on it and when it was last published and accessed. And so if someone gets in and edits your website, you may be responsible for it. So just be very cautious there. So let's jump in to edit our website. To do that, we can just click on the little thumbnail image over here on the left, or I can just click the edit link on the right side, which is the way I like to do it. Either way is totally fine. And now you're taken into your website. And you know that you're logged into the website because you see this little toolbar across the top in black with some buttons and options, and a white toolbar down the left-hand side with some other options. And this is all the stuff we're going to cover this morning. So first, at the left side of it, we've got a little drop down that will show you a list of all of your pages. So this is just a quick jump down, or list of your pages, so you can quickly jump from one page to another in just short order. It just allows you to jump from any or down to any page. So a lot of people like that. It just has an access to the pages. You can also get to any page by just mousing over and clicking on a page, of course. It's really a matter of personal choice, but some people like the ability to see all of your pages here as well. Now, you can also see how your website's going to look on the different devices by clicking on these three icons up here at the top. And this will be helpful for you while you're managing your website, so you can see how it's going to look on tablets and mobile phones. So all you do is click on the tablet view. Now I can see how the site's going to look and function in tablet mode. I can also click on the mobile phone here, the little phone guy, and now I can see how the site looks in mobile. So it's pretty cool that you can see the site in all the different modes in one location, just quickly jump from one to the other. So that's really, really nice. Over to the right of that, we've got an editor option. Click the little magnifying glass, and it's a quick access thing. So if you want to just type in some random letters, or if you want to add something, whatever it is, just type in add, for example, and here's add everything. There's a lot of information about how to add all the different widgets, what we used to call modules, as well as information to help you manage those little widgets. So for example, on the right-hand side, if you want to know about Facebook comments, just click the little question mark there, and you'll get some pop-up information about how to add Facebook comments. So it's a really nice little short link, or I guess quick links kind of thing, to help you add things to your site. Just click the little question mark there, and it'll pop up and help you with anything that you need. So it's on-site help. Now, to the right of that is info and tools. And here we'll have some more information about your website. First, it shows the site name. That's really your URL that we can change at any time to be whatever you need it to be. So you're not locked into any particular URL, and you certainly don't have to live with a .campuscontact.com/URL. So it can definitely be your own school district URL or any custom URL that you want. And below that, I can see that this particular site is published, meaning that the rest of the world can see it. So we'll talk about publishing websites in just a second, because that is extremely important. A little further down on the left-hand side of this is the preview link. So this allows you to share a link to the site of what you as the administrator see it as, not really what the rest of the world sees it as. You can actually share a copy of the site before it actually goes live. So if you make any changes on a page and you want to get approval of it, you can make some changes, not save it, and then share a link of that page to anybody in desktop or mobile mode, and they can see it. And if they have to approve it, they can say, yep, this looks great, go ahead and save it and launch it and republish it so the rest of the world can see it. So we'll talk about publishing in a minute as well. There's also another link to your stats in here. This was the same stats that we showed from the dashboard. Just a quick little glimpse of last week's visits and page views. And if you want to get more information, just click on Open Stats, and it takes you back to where we were a minute ago. There's also another area where you can change the language of the editor. Again, this is not changing the entire site content. This is the editor, all of the editing functions. If you're more comfortable working in Spanish or German or whatever different language, you may change that at your leisure and work in whatever language is most comfortable for you. To the right of that is a little check mark that you'll see keeps changing from check mark to 3 little dots. And that's because everything in the site now is auto-saved. So there's no more save button, there's no more update button, and there's no more page refreshing. It's extremely fast and easy to manage the website now, because nothing has to reload or recycle all the time like the old system used to. So it's incredibly fast. And so you'll see this little check marks up here change to 3 little dots and back to a check mark. That just shows you that everything's been auto-saved and you just keep on going. So it's just kind of a confirmation icon to show you that, yes, things are actually saved and you're good to go. To the right of that is the undo and the redo. So I use those continually. So if you make a big mistake, or you find that you've made some kind of mistake somewhere along the way while you're managing content, just hit the undo button. And you can actually go back 100 steps, which is just insane. But you can go back 100 steps, or we think possibly even more. We actually just quit counting at 100. But we know we can go at least 100 steps back to undo any changes that you've made, which is a huge amount of steps backwards. And of course, you can also go forward if you've gone too many backwards. So nice to have those little buttons to help you out. To the right of that is the preview button that allows you to go out of edit mode and into the mode that the rest of the world would see it if they're looking at your site live. And that's going to be really important because as you mouse over things in edit mode, you'll see it puts this little square around stuff. And it's because it thinks that that's stuff I want to change. So if I, for example, this icon on the left, I wanted to click it to see how it takes me back home. If I'm in edit mode, it thinks I want to change it, which means I could come in here and change it to, link back home, for example. If I want to test that link, I can't really do that while I'm in edit mode. I have to go into preview mode at the top right. And now if I click it, of course, it's going to take me to home because that's where I am. But I go to another page and click on it. Now I can see that it's actually functioning. Whereas if I'm in the edit mode and I'm seeing all of my icons now, if I'm in edit mode and click it, it thinks I want to make a change to it or edit it. So you will find yourself jumping out of edit mode and into preview mode and back and forth quite a bit as you're working on the site. And it's extremely fast. Again, no page reloading or anything. It just jumped from one to the other, just instantaneous. To the right of that is probably your most important button, and that is your republish button. Because while everything is auto-saved, it is not auto-published, meaning that you could make a bunch of changes in your site, adding pages and pictures and videos and content and all kinds of stuff, but nobody gets to see that until you publish it, or in this case, republish it after your site's been published the first time. So every time you make a change, or actually after you're finished making a whole bunch of changes, maybe a full day of changes, you hit the republish button and all of that content then gets pushed live. So it gives you a chance to work in the background, make all the changes you need that nobody else can see. And then when you're finished and you say, yep, that looks perfect and I'm ready to go, it's how I want it to look, hit the republish button and they see that. So it's not, it's an incredible benefit that they're not going to see you working on the site as you're working on it. They're going to instead see your end result when you're finished with it and you're ready, and then you hit the republish button and make it go live. So we have had people who have added a lot of content and pages and stuff to their site. They log out and they go, oh my gosh, all my stuff is gone. No, it's not gone. I promise you, it's not gone. You just didn't hit the republish button to push those changes out live. So make sure that you hit the republish button when you're ready to update your content, because it's going to be really important. Otherwise, you're going to be a little confused and wonder what happened to your stuff. It does all auto-save after everything you do. It just does not auto-publish. So there's a big difference there, and you need to make sure that you hit that republish button when you're ready. To the right of that is some more information really about your help information. Although we talked about, you can go to campuscontact.com/support to get all of the help and information you need from us. You can also do that directly from inside the website by clicking on that little question mark icon, and it takes you to our knowledge base where you can get a lot of information, a ton of stuff about managing the website, website design information, and guides to all kinds of stuff. Just basic information about, actually not just basic, it's extremely detailed information about how to do everything within the website, whether it's account management or managing the website itself or any of the little widgets within it. There's a tremendous amount of information in here that we certainly don't have time to cover today, but make sure you click that little help link at the top right, and that will take you to the knowledge base where you'll find a lot of information for you. To the right of that is your home button. Again, when you're finished managing your content and you want to go home, click the home button and it takes you back to your dashboard where you can then log out at the top right or jump over to any other sites if you have other sites listed below there. Then go back into edit mode. So those are all your buttons across the top of your site. Let's go to the left-hand side and talk about these items on the left. So starting right off the bat here, we've got some trouble in that we've given everybody a lot of access to a lot of things that they need. Unfortunately, with that, we also had to give access to some things that you really don't need. And the main one is the design button. And while you do have access to it, and you have access to change it, this is one area I want to ask you to not ever change. You don't even need to go into it. I'm not going to show it to you. But this is where we manage your global design stuff. And you can absolutely make a mess of things if you poke around in the design area. Again, you don't need to. We'll do that for you. We generally do that for you on a request of the district. So, we work with the district design folks to design things the way they need to be. And this is where we access it. But you as site administrators also have access to that. But I do not want you to make those changes. If you blow it all up, mess it all up, we can undo it. We can roll it back, and we'll talk about how to restore the website. But know that if we have to roll it back, it's also going to roll back any changes or updates that you've made along the way. So you might just be better off by not touching it, and just don't mess anything up. Let's skip over the design button because, again, you don't need it, you don't want it, you don't want to touch it. We're going to go down below that and talk about pages. So this is your page manager. This is where this is the equivalent of the old page manager in the old system. Or if you're with a new system, you don't care about the old stuff. But this is where you're going to manage and create new pages in your website. First off, all pages can just be dragged and dropped in whatever order you want, quickly and easily. So you can just grab them and shuffle them in whatever order you want them to be in. If you want to make a page under another page, so for example, under home, there's no pages under home. But if I want to put calendar and blog under home page, make them a child page, all I have to do is drag them up to it and drag it to the right. And now it's under the home. So it's really quick and easy to make things child pages of another page just by dragging it to the right. If I don't want it under there anymore, drag it back to the left. So as quick as that, you can shuffle the page order around. If you're one of those folks who want your pages in alphabetical order, go crazy, knock yourself out. You can do it real quick and easy. So it's really, really easy to manage pages in that respect, just by drag and drop. Now to the right of every page is a little gear icon. And that gear icon is important for every page because if we click on it, it allows you to rename the page. So just click rename and there's your rename. I could say this is school calendar instead of just calendar. If I click on that icon, I can also hide a page in the navigation. And this will come into play for most schools because generally you're going to have pages in your site that are not included in your navigation, but are still accessible pages. For example, in this particular design, we've got some links on the homepage to student stuff and food services, employment, and something else on the left, parents. So maybe these are things that don't need to be replicated in the navigation because there are such prominent buttons on the homepage. So in that case, you'll have pages that are hidden from the rest of the world. So you would just click that little gear, say hide in navigation, and hide on all. And now it's out of the menu, but it's still an accessible page. And you'll see it even puts a little icon here that says hidden on all. Now you can hide just from specific devices. So for example, if you have something on your page that maybe it's just for mobile, you can hide it on desktop or on just tablet. Or maybe it's a big heavy page with lots of big pictures or something. It just doesn't work on mobile. Maybe it's some kind of huge table or I don't know, something. You can hide it on mobile or any particular device. And you'll see again, it shows hidden on tablet, hidden on mobile, or you can just click it again to unhide it. So that is a nice tool. If you have a seasonal page, maybe a page for SAT work or I don't know, summer or Christmas or whatever it is, you can create your content and just hide it and then show it later, whatever you want. You also have the option to duplicate a page. Just click duplicate and it immediately makes a complete copy of that page, which you can do with as you please. So you may have a page that looks really great. You want to reuse that page for other purposes. You just click duplicate and now you create another page of it, a copy of it. If you click on that gear again, you can also delete it down at the bottom. So I'll delete that copy. And there's also some other options. Page URL. So this was one of the big things that people were excited about from a marketing standpoint. If you're going to promote a specific page in your site, it can be a slash whatever you want. So no long crazy URLs anymore. They're actually going to just be your URL slash whatever the page name is. So you can make it short and sweet and something memorable like PTO or PTA or teachers or students or parents or whatever you want. So it's a simple URL for people to remember. And it's a nice simple URL for you to market as well. Now also when you click on that gear, you get the option to manage SEO, which takes us to where we are right now, where we can turn off a page from being crawled by search engines, which comes in handy if you've got maybe some documents or some pages and content that maybe just need to be seen by parents. Well, you don't want that stuff to be crawled and available out on the interweb or Google or anywhere. So you can just click no index, and now the search engines won't see that page. You turn it back off, the search engines will crawl that page, and then it will be seen by the rest of the world and accessible. So just nice to be able to turn that on and turn it off as you need. Now also is the page title. And this is one area that a lot of people overlook because they just get in a hurry and I don't want to say lazy, but they just kind of don't bother with it. So this is the page title, but it's also very important for the search engines because this is what the search engines see when they're crawling your website. So take a minute after you've built out your site to click on the little gear on all of your pages and just go down and add a page title and a short page description. Now, page keywords are optional. They're kind of obsolete now because search engines just don't use them anymore. That's totally up to you if you want to add keywords, but add a page title and add a page description because it does really make a difference from a search engine standpoint. So you can see only 70 characters for the page title and only 320 characters for the page description. So it is very short and sweet description and short descriptive title. Again, that's pretty important stuff. A lot of folks don't do it, but it will be very important for you to do. Also in this little gear icon, when I click it, you can have the option to set a password. So you can set a password for a page so that only certain users can see it. So if you want something just for teachers or maybe just for yourself or whatever the case may be, you can create a password page, password hidden page that nobody else can see, but you can access it. That page is not crawled by the search engines. Where is it? There it is. SEO. So when you set up a page password, it automatically blocks that page from being seen, so it's not crawled. And again, only you can access that. So anybody who wants to get to that page, of course, has to enter a password in order to access it. A little further down is the HTML, header HTML. This only comes into play if you're messing with something like the Google site verification, where they want to verify ownership. You can paste their little code that they give you in here and go check it with Google, and that's how they verify site ownership. So that's the last thing in the page settings, but you'll likely never use that, but it is there. So there's all your pages, your page ordering, and moving those around, and of course, your page settings. So when you go to add a new page, let me just close all this stuff out. To add a new page, you click on the big blue new page button. And it's really, really easy. We're not going to get into all of these things now, but when you click on add a new page, there are three primary kinds of pages that you're going to add. The main one being just a blank old page, just a blank slate for you to start with. There's also a page URL, which is a page in the navigation that's actually going to jump out of your site and go to another website. This is common for student information systems or attendance or, I don't know, any other third-party website. So if you have in your website something that's going to jump out to PowerSchool or some student information system, you would just create a page URL, give it a name, and the URL of the page to where it should go, the third-party URL. Now, the other kind of page that you'll make pretty often is what we call a folder page. And it's kind of a misnomer. It's not really a folder. It's more of a title or of a placeholder page because it's a page that can't really be clicked on in the navigation, but it holds other pages underneath it. So our example here is, for example, schools. So over here on our menu, schools is a folder page. You can't click on it and go to it because it's really nothing, but it holds underneath it all of the other pages in the district. So yeah, this is why I made a preview mode. So in this case, schools, if I mouse over it, I see all of the other pages under it. But if I try to click on schools, it doesn't really go anywhere because it's not a functional page that I can click on. It's just a placeholder or a folder page that underneath it has all of these other pages in it. Now in my case, if I click on the left-hand side here, if I expand schools, I'll see all of my pages that go to my different schools. And those are actually URL pages. And I can tell that first off because it has a little globe to the left of it that shows what kind of page it is. Whereas schools has a little folder underneath it. So it tells you it's a folder page. And home, of course, has a little home next to it. And these others have nothing because they're just standard pages. But I can tell that these are URL pages, which I can also change by clicking on the icon and edit that URL if I wanted to. So anyhow, so these are my page types. I'm going to go back to add a new page. I can add again blank page, page URL, or a folder page. But now in this new system, we can also add some beautiful templated pages that really save you a lot of time and effort. So this is where the system gets really exciting. We have these different kind of pages. If you're going to create a about us page or a team page or a portfolio or maybe a cafeteria page, contact us. Something about your services, maybe some kind of project page or a big landing page. You can do all of that now with just a single click and go in and populate the content and information in it real quick and easy. So it already creates a beautiful, usable page for you. So example, if we're going to create an About Us page, all I have to do is click About Us. I can change the name if I want to, and just leave it About Us, and click Add. And it creates a really nice looking page for us. And wait for it. There we go. There's my new page. And so it's already got a lot of information. It's styled to match my website. And all I have to do now is go in and change the content and the photos on it so that it's what I want it to be. Maybe I want to change this from these guys to, I don't know, a school bus. Just change it to whatever I want and go in and change the verbiage and to however I want. And now I've got an instant page, quick and easy. It's already laid out beautifully and there's not much else I have to do to it. So it's really, really easy to use these pre-designed pages, so that you don't have to really start with a blank page and build from scratch. Well, in the afternoon session today, we're going to talk about sections, which is kind of takes this whole page template idea to a whole nother level where all the little widgets and things that are on your site are also pre-templated and beautiful, and all you've got to do is just change the words and pictures to make them your own. That is a really cool thing. So we'll talk about that later as well. But back to pages, again, you can add blank pages, page URLs, or folders, which are going to be the primary types of pages, but also there's lots of different pre-styled page types that you can use as well. So those are also fun and really, really make it easy. So that's all about your pages. Now, also at the top is you'll see pop-ups. We're not going to talk about pop-ups now, but we can create lots of different pop-ups, and for some reason we've done that a lot on this particular site. But anyhow, we can make lots of different pop-ups and things. We're not going to talk about that in this class. We do have a different video specifically for pop-ups, so go check that out at campuscontact.com/training, which is also where you got here, where you'll see all of the videos of our site. In fact, let me go show you that real quick while we're here. You go to campuscontact.com/training. This is, of course, where you signed in to get into this class. But you'll also see all the recordings of previous sessions. And so you'll see lots of other sessions in here. And later today, you'll see a big video gallery below here of individual videos for lots of specific functions. So campuscontact.com/training is where you'll find all this information. So let's jump back to our website. So we talk about pages and adding pages and moving pages and page settings. It's all super easy and accessible right here. Quick and easy. So that's nice stuff. So let's talk about the things in your website. So we used to call all the stuff you do in your website modules. Now we call them widgets. Whole new system, whole new verbiage, just because we want to kind of get away from the old style completely. So now they're no longer modules. Now we call them widgets. So in here, when you click on widgets, you'll see all the different things you can do. You can add text and images and sliders and links and calendars and icons and buttons and forms and all kinds of different things. So this is where you're going to come in and play around initially to see what all you can add to the site. And there's a bunch of different stuff, and they're pretty well categorized so that, we have a lot of business functions separated from the social functions, from some of the advanced blogs and store to the media functions. So you'll see it's all kind of grouped and categorized to kind of make it a little bit easier for you to find everything you're looking for. So these are all the widgets. And now we're going to add a page. In fact, let me go back to page and let me add a blank new page. I'm just going to call it blank page. And we'll add some stuff to it because I want to show you how to add the widgets to the page. So on my widgets, all I have to do to add something to the page is click on it and drag it out to the page. And in this case, I just dragged out text. And once I do, it highlights my new text. This is your new text editor, which you can also move around by grabbing the left-hand side of it and move it wherever you want. In this case, I'll put it above it so we can see it a little bit better. So now I've got my text, and all I have to do is type some stuff in here. It's that easy. Just type stuff on your. Oh, you do have to spell correctly. And click the little green button, and it's saved. So everything is auto saved. That little button here at the top, that little check mark, changed to three little dots, and now it's back to a check mark showing you it's all saved. But that's it. So adding content, managing content on your site is kind of like adding it, managing it in PowerPoint. Click on what you want, change it as you see fit, and it does auto spell check everything along the way. So it's really, really easy to manage. In this case, with just regular text, if you highlight it, you can do all the usual stuff like bold, italics, underline, font colors. There's only 66 million options in colors, so that should be enough for folks. But if not, let me know. That should do it. So if you have a specific HTML color, of course, you can add it in there, hex color, or maybe an RGB, depending on how you're adding your colors. You can also manage the opacity of your font and colors there as well. You can also change in here the font size. So you make it big, smaller, whatever you want to do with it, as well as all the fonts. We listened to you. You guys were asking for lots of different fonts. Well, you've got it. Now we've got the entire Google font library. So if you want some crazy fonts, it's in there. If you want Comic Sans, it's in there. Even though we don't want it, it's out there because you guys wanted it. So there's tons of different fonts out there available for you. So it's all there. Hit the font drop down and you'll see it. It's all there. You can also change the weight of the font. In this particular design, we only have it set to normal. And you can change the alignment, center left or right. Right. I'll go back to center. And you can also manage the line height and link text or anything to anywhere. So if you click your link button, and we'll talk more about links in this afternoon's class, but when you're linking to things, now you can quickly link to any other page in your site, any third-party URL by pasting that URL in there. You can link to pop-ups that you can make. In this case, this site's got a lot of pop-ups. We can also link to anchor text, which we'll talk about this afternoon, which is basically just a specific place within your website. We can also link directly to items in your store. So if you've got something in your store you specifically want to link to, we can do that. And you can link to email addresses as well as click to call. So for mobile devices, you might have something that says, click here to call us. That would be one of those items that you'd want to hide from your desktop or maybe even tablets, but only show in mobile. And so we'll talk about displaying things for different types of devices as well. And then last is the files. So you can link directly to a file. And we'll talk about your file manager here in a minute. But there's a really powerful file manager where you can link directly to anything. So it's really, really nice. So we'll talk about that. A little further down, we can add bullets to things. We can add numbers to things. We can change the paragraph, description, and direction. I mean, you can clear the whole font if you, or format. If you mess it all up, you can clear it all, which is kind of nice. You can also undo it all and redo it all as you see fit. And when you're finished, just click the close button and you're done. So it's really nice. To move things around, we'll talk about adding and moving stuff around in the afternoon. But really, it's just a matter of mousing over whatever you want to move, grabbing these little white squares, they call those anchors, and moving it to wherever you want. So right now there's nothing else on our page, but we can move it around just like you would in Word or PowerPoint and just drag stuff around. So it's really, really cool. So again, just all of your widgets, just decide what you want to do, grab it from wherever, and drag it out to the page. There it is. And add a picture to it. So in this case, I just throw a picture out there and you can see we can resize it, do whatever you want with it. So just go grab a widget and add it out there. We'll talk about rows and columns later as well, but you can also add columns to your page directly. So if you want to add stuff in 3 columns or 4 columns or 2 columns, whatever you want to do, you can do that as well. We'll talk a lot about columns and rows in the afternoon's training. But managing content on your site is extremely easy, just adding widgets. Now there's also another way you can add widgets, and that is by right-clicking anywhere in a blank area and mouse over Add. and then you have an option to add a widget below. And from here, you could add, again, more text, more, another image, a button, icons, or even more widgets, which is really all of the widgets that we just saw on the left-hand side, just another way to do it. So it's kind of a shortcut method of adding widgets. So again, you can drag widgets from the left side, or if you just want to right-click anywhere on a blank space, mouse over add another widget, whatever it is you want to add, and just add it. But it's really, really simple and quick to do that. So here's my new button. So let's go down our list here on the left-hand side. The next one is the content. So this is all of your website information. And one thing I'm going to ask of everybody is that when you first get your website, click on content and go to business info. And this is going to be important, and you'll see why later, but it's going to basically populate your site with all of the information, such as your phone number, any important email addresses, your social links, your physical address that will be shown on the maps. So this is going to be important stuff for you later on. So just take a second and add your school's business info, any primary numbers. Of course, you can label them as main officer, secretary, or superintendent, whatever they might be, as well as any email addresses. And of course, you put a name there as well. So this kind of stuff will be very important later down the line when you start managing your content. You only have to do this one time. And then further down, we're going to skip all of these other items. We're going to go straight to site content down at the bottom. This is your file manager, your old file manager, where we can manage images. And by default, your site comes with thousands and thousands of royalty-free photos. So if you want to type in students, for example, there's thousands of pictures out there available for you. So there's a ton of information, lots and lots of photos for you. Of course, any photos that you've uploaded are also already there. They're in a folder called uploaded. And you can create any number of folders and subfolders you want and organize your photos however you want to group and sort them. So that's real easy to manage. And of course, if you want to upload any new photos, you just click upload images and upload them directly from your computer, and it will automatically compress and optimize them for the web. So it's really nice. So it's super, super simple. Also under content and site content is your file manager. So that first was your image manager, now is your file manager. And this particular site, somebody put a bunch of photos also in the file area, which I would generally not recommend. But, so I'm gonna just go look at all my PDFs here. If I just look at .pdf files, I can see that all of my PDFs in here, and quickly easily search for something. If I want to find something called ABC, in this case, I just type in the letters at the top and it instantly finds that file for me. And I can click on a little magnifying glass and view it. Or I can select it and it will automatically link it and even put a place for it directly on my site for people to download. If you're going to link to a document from somewhere else, like these words over here, for example, if I want to say this links to a document, all I have to do is highlight all that, click the link button, and down here, click File for download, go to find that file, type in ABC, there's my file, click select, and I'm done. And it's automatically done. So it's quickly and easily done. And now if I go over here to preview mode so I can actually see it, and I click on it, it's going to take me to my document. So actually, there's my document. So it's real easy to manage that kind of thing, and just happens really fast. So we'll talk about content later, but know that your file manager is under content and site content, where you can manage images and files for your site, as well as any form responses. So this particular site doesn't have any forms, but that's where that would be. Just another area. Now, there's also another really exciting piece called personalization. And we're not going to get into this today. This is a kind of a lengthy area of discussion, but we can do lots of personalization stuff depending on how the user gets to your site and when they get to it, from what device they get to it. We can do lots of different things to display stuff for different types of users and different times and such. So, for example, if you're going to have a school closure, maybe closed due to weather, you might want a big notification bar across the top of your site and just post something, or some kind of big pop-up, whatever, or you can just build your own. but there's lots of different things we can do with personalization, like creating holiday events. We can make it snow on your page, or we can do fireworks for the 4th of July or New Year's. We can have after hours messages pop up, let people know, of course, when you're around. Out of offices, lunch specials, call us, booking things. So you can see we can do lots of different things. So it's kind of fun. So lots of personalization stuff we can do with the site. And this is definitely one of those areas where I recommend you go play and experiment and just kind of see what works best for you. We're not going to talk about that a whole lot today. We're also not going to get into the blog or the store, but I want to let you know that there is a full-blown e-commerce system directly within your website, where initially you can do up to 10 products, and it's a full-blown e-commerce platform. So people can actually shop and purchase things directly through your website. So if you're doing a fundraiser for band or some other organization within your school, and they're selling stuff for a fundraiser, you don't just have to go door to door and bug their friends for it. You can actually put it on the school website's store, and folks from across the country or across the world really can go in and buy those items directly from you. It does use the Google Gateway or PayPal, so there's multiple ways for your users to check out, multiple ways for you to collect that money using the store settings. So a lot of cool stuff we can do with the school store. Likewise, there's a blog built into the website, which if you haven't already, go to campuscontact.com and click on blog, and you'll see our new blog. And there's a lot of great stuff in there. But you'll see that it's a really great looking blog, super easy to use, easy to manage. So if you want to have multiple blogs, by all means, go right ahead, and people can easily, quickly blog in the website. Lots of different settings and even some different layout designs of your site. So, I click layout. So anyhow, so here's our site by default, or I'm sorry, our blog by default. But we can definitely do a lot of cool stuff with the blog. And so we're going to skip that and go to the last item on our list here. And this is the settings area. So there's not a whole lot you can blow up or break in your settings, and there's not a whole lot of reason for you to go in here initially. Once your site's set up and completed, there's really not much for you in here other than the site backup, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But when I click in settings, the first thing I see at the top is the site icons. So you can manage now your own favicon, which is the little thing you see at the top in the tabs. In this case, it's just some little squares. But you can also change it to the Campus Contact logo or your school logo or icon, whatever you want that to be, as well as any social networks images. So you can manage that in here. And even your home screen icons for tablets and cell phones, because we'll talk about making your website an app in a minute, what we call a progressive web app. We'll talk about that last. So we can also manage what that icon is going to look like on their devices. Now we can also change the site URL, and this is generally done by your site, your district administrator. If you don't have that function or some of these other functions, it's just kind of a higher level thing that you don't really need to manage or mess with, so that it's just hidden on your site. But know that we can change the site URL to whatever you need it to be. So if you're using some district name, and later on you want to go get your own school name, if they allow it, by all means, let us know. We can add that in here, and you can get literally whatever URL you want it to be for your website. Go to GoDaddy.com and go, or wherever you like to shop for domains. Go find a domain, point it to us. We'll help you set that up, and that can be your site URL. So you're not limited at all anymore as to what your site URL can be. Every site that goes live will also have an SSL certificate now. So this is added for yours and the website security. So it's just an additional step that we're taking now for school and website security. So we do this as just a default for all of our customers. And so at the top, if you look at the in the browser in the bar there, you'll see there's a little lock information where you can click on that to see information about it. And of course, this one is secure. All of our sites are secure now. Like for example, Campus Contact, if I click on that, there it is, connection secure. So it's nice to have that secure connection, and we do that for all of our sites now. Below that is the SEO. So we talked about that at the page level, where if you go to each page, there's an SEO option to manage the page title and the page description. If you're not going to do that at the page level, at least come to the site settings and do it one time for the entire site globally. So add in your school, your school's name. This is our school description. Whatever it is you want to add, some kind of description. So we are Jones Elementary, even if it's just we are Jones Elementary, just some kind of basic description is going to be very helpful. Again, keywords is kind of irrelevant now because the search engines just don't really look at it anymore. So that's really up to you. But other than that, that's really all I really want you to do is go to SEO and at least add your school's name or title and a little bit of description. Again, you could do that at the page level by going to any page and clicking the little gear to the right of it and clicking SEO and adding it at the page level instead of the site level. Both of which are actually pretty important from an SEO standpoint, but if you're not going to do the pages, at least do it once at the site level and just add your basic site information there. We talked about Google Analytics briefly, in that the site does have its own analytics system built into it, so you don't really need Google Analytics anymore. If you really like Google and you want to use that, you can certainly do that by adding the Google code in here. It's a UA/or something, blah, 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 whatever the number is. Just paste it in here, and 24 hours later, Google will start collecting information for your website. So it does take 24 hours for that information to start being collected by Google. So the Google Analytics is always 1 day behind. So just know that that's information for you. URL redirect, we can do redirects for your site. We can manage HTML, again, for your website, kind of like the page level HTML. Most folks will never even need this, but it's there. The big one is the backup site. So now we can back up, actually your site's always being backed up, and we can restore your website from any previous version quickly and easily with just a single click. So in this case, if I want to restore it to the training, my training restore from last week, I can just click on the restore button and it will instantly roll my site back to a previous version. So it's really cool that if you get into your website and you start making a bunch of changes or you delete stuff and you're like, I totally messed this thing up, don't worry about it. You can go back in here, go to settings, go to backup site, and roll it back to any previous version. Now you see before it did that, it actually took a snapshot of today's information. And if I decide I don't want to roll it back to wherever I rolled it back to, I can restore it back to today's version. And it will actually keep a backup of every single time you hit your republish button. So after you've made a bunch of changes and you added a bunch of stuff to your site, click the republish button and you'll see that it then adds another version of your site under your site backups. And again, you can restore to any previous version with just a couple of clicks and you're there. So it's really nice to know that you can roll it back anytime, quickly and easily. Next is the site language, which we really don't use that anymore. We now have actually the Google Translate function added to your website, so you don't really need site language. You can manage the privacy settings. So this is a nice area. If you want to add in a privacy page about your website, you can do that. Or if you want to even add a little cookies notification, everybody's seen it now at the bottom of your site. It will say, this site uses cookies or whatever. But we've actually seen a lot of schools using that now for school closure information. It's kind of a neat use for it. So in this case, we turn it on and we'll see it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go view it. You'll see that it's actually going to put this, what they call a GDPR notification, which is supposed to be about cookie notification. People are actually using that now for kind of a clever use for any kind of instant notifications that they need to put on their site. School lockdowns or school closure, whatever it may be. You can actually do that in your settings, go to privacy settings, and have that already typed up and ready, and just turn it on or turn it off as you need it. So that's kind of an interesting use of it. But it was originally intended for cookies notification, which everybody's seen on lots of websites all around the world anyhow now. So everybody disregards those and just ignores them. So now we found another way to use those. So kind of a nice little tool. Next is your 404 page, and this comes in handy if you're coming to Campus Contact from the old school desk sites. You'll find that in Google, there'll be a lot of broken links. There'll be, or actually links to your old site, your old school desk site, even though you're now on Campus Contact. And The problem with that is, of course, we don't want them to go in to see old, outdated information. We want them to come to your new website, see the pretty version, the fast and beautiful version that has the updated and current information. So what we do is we'll route them to a 404 page. So if they click on it in Google, it just comes to a 404 page, which looks like this. Oh, that page you're looking for can't be found. They just clicked on the home page and they find it here. Essentially, all that's doing is we're slowly killing off all of your old school desk links and replacing them with your new campus contact links in your website as it's being crawled by the search engines. But until then, we don't want them going to the old site at all. So because those links don't exist anymore. So instead, we want to show them some kind of message that at least gets them to the site so they don't get an error. We just really want to just notify them that that's gone now, it no longer exists, and show them another message. You can actually modify that as well. If you click on customize page, you can change this any way you want, make it bigger, smaller, change the colors, add icons. If you go to Google and you want to search for 404 page, for example, there's a lot of examples out there, some really cool, clever ones out there. So you can modify your 404 page to be whatever you want it to be. And again, it is a very helpful thing for your users. So definitely take a minute and do something with your 404 page to make it interesting so they don't just get an error message. Make it maybe helpful or even creative. So you can do whatever you want with that. So it's kind of nice. And in our settings, the very last thing down at the bottom, definitely not least, is what we call a progressive web app, where we can now change your website into an app that can be downloaded and installed on cell phones and tablets, so that instead of users having to open a browser and browse to your website, all they have to do is click on the app version of your website and instantly view the information. So it's really, really nice. It makes it super easy for them to do that. And you know, they're going to see your website instantaneously, so it doesn't have to browse to it and load all the pages. It's already there, and it's as fast as they can click through it. All of your content is there. So go to settings, progressive web app, turn on the web app, and probably enable the mobile browsers to prompt you to install it. And users can install the app on their device and use it, you know, directly on their device as an app instead of in a browser. Of course, you can even change your icon, change the splash colors of the thing, change the name of it, whatever it's going to be seen as on their device. So making it a web app really helps your users access your website instantly, so it's not going to have to load and chug along. It's not going to use any of their bandwidth or their data if they're on a limited data plan. So it's a really nice way to use the website in a faster, slicker, smaller format by making it into an app. So there's the bulk of the high-level overview of the new website. And like I said, at 4 o'clock, we're going to dig into actually adding content to the site, adding tables and rows and columns, adding lots of different widgets, and we're going to build out some pages and do some fun stuff with that. And then we're also going to talk about the new, really exciting piece of it that we call sections. And sections, if you mouse over anywhere on a page, as you see, if I mouse over a page, it highlights or outlines any row that I'm on. And if I mouse right over the line there, it turns into something that you'll see there's a little plus that changes to add section. So just mouse over anywhere and you'll see you can click on add section. And from here, we can add lots of really cool pre-designed sections to our website that are just beautiful and useful for all kinds of things. But basically, you can build your entire website without ever adding a single widget to your page by just adding these sections instead. So we'll talk a lot about sections and all the fun, cool stuff that we can do there with your website later on this afternoon at 4 o'clock. So this session, as well as this afternoon session, in case you can't come back, will be recorded. It'll be available at campuscontact.com/training. And you'll find all of the videos that we've done in the past, as well as shortly, hopefully later on this afternoon, we'll have another little video selection showing different widgets and training and stuff. So anyhow, come back this afternoon at 4 o'clock and hit us up with any questions you have at a little chat bubble here. But join us back today at 4 o'clock and we'll have a more deep dive into the management of the site, adding all kinds of stuff to the site, and really getting into the guts of it. And you'll see how easy it is to quickly build out a really beautiful, awesome website really, really easily. So we'll see you back this afternoon at 4 o'clock. If you have any questions, again, go to campuscontact.com and click on the little bubble over here at the bottom, or go to support page and let us know any issues you might be having or any questions you might have as well. So thank you very much for attending. Have a great day, and we'll see you again this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Take care. Thanks.